welcome to webinar 17. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and today we are joined by Snehal Contractor from Stellar Cyber. He is the VP of Global System Engineering and Technical Services. Snehal has been in the security business, for over 2 decades now, so he's got a lot of experience. He works with some of the largest MSPs in the world, and he's here to give you insights on, why they are making more money with, why MSPs are making more money with Open XDR. Stellar Cyber's Open XDR platform delivers comprehensive, unified security without all the complexity behind the platform. So powering 32 of the top 250 MSSPs. With Stellar Cyber, MSSPs reduce their clients' risk with early and precise identification and remediation of threats while slashing costs, retaining original investments in existing tools, and improving their security outcomes. Let's learn more on the MSSP. Today you're going to learn on how MSSPs can grow higher margin revenue with Stellar Cyber Open XDR. But before I hand this off to Snehal, I want to share a summary on the MSP Corner and, what's the whole reason behind this platform and what our goals are. And we've developed this to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We're not just providing tools for IT firms, we're also going to be sitting with you in meetings to ensure your IT firm stays on track. And the first area we're focused on is strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support, right? So we want to provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an add value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle with is marketing. And that's across the board. That's just not IT groups. I mean, this is every industry, but 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice is word of mouth, networking. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become that online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. Another area we plan to include in our package is how to scale, right? IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. Also, we're going to provide you with the right tools. Like we're talking about Stellar Cyber today. They are going to be an authorized partner on our platform. But in order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. And our platform will have lots of information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs and MSSPs. And the last area that I feel is so important is documentation. Templates are critical. Templates are critical to when you're building an MSP, and we have every template you're going to need: contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, presentations, you name it, we're going to have it for you. And that's all I have to share on the MSP Corner. So I appreciate you guys joining us. I'm going to get to the webinar and hand this off to Snehal. Snehal, thanks for being our guest today. I appreciate you making time for us because I know you're a pretty busy guy, and I want to just hand things off to you. So go on, get this show going.
Yeah, absolutely, Fernando. Thank you very much. Let me share my screen here. So we'll start off, right? We've done a couple of these, Fernando. So the first and foremost thing is, why are we here, right? And I always like to address what some of the challenges that we're having in the industry, both from an MSSP challenges as well as SOC analyst challenges. So if we take a look at some of our MSSP challenges, first and foremost is just purely the most basic thing is onboarding new customers, right? To bring on a new customer, get their tools and their telemetry onboarded to give you visibility, this could be difficult. It could be a 4 to 6 week process. So first, we want to shorten that time frame very, very quickly, right? From an MSSP perspective, for you to have the ability to create a new tenant, a new user instantly, for the customers to bring in their data sources very, very easily. So, some of the methodology that we use is deploy a device or deploy some sort of a server that can act as an aggregate for all of their existing data sources, all of their telemetry, and full visibility to the environment, right? Versus trying to have all of these different tools talking to various different other things, and I need a port number for this, there's an IP for that, and things like that. The second one is leveraging your client's investments. Let's face it, security didn't start yesterday. All of the environments already have tools in place. They've got firewalls, they've got IDS, EDR, sandbox technology, you name it, right? They've got it all. You bought those for a reason. Let's leverage those. So keep your existing tools, which are providing you visibility in parts of your network and providing you good security detections, right? So let's keep those. The second one is enablement. When you have a new partner come on, when you have a new customer come on, you have to have a program in place to go ahead and enable them, right? Help them understand the differentiating, the features, the functionality of the tool. Self-service capabilities, we talked about it a little bit earlier, right? Role-based access control. Have the ability for the users to come in and take a look at some reporting and do a little bit of threat hunting on their own. So all in all, these are some of the challenges that our MSSPs are facing. Now, if we take it from a SOC analyst perspective on what are some of the challenges that they're facing, right? So the first and foremost is we talked about the many different tools that they have. You've got the swivel chair effect. So I'm going from one tool to another tool to another tool to just look at my security events and take a look at all of the data that's flowing across my environment, right? So I need to have an environment or a user interface that has all of my security events from all of the different tools into a single location. Okay. It seems like it's an easy concept, but when you apply what we've said is our open XDR platform, which has to do with full integration with all of your existing tools, right? Not a partial integration with some firewalls or some EDR tools, but 100% integration with all of those tools that we have. Not only a single integration like a one-way integration, but a bi-directional integration. So not only are we retrieving data from your EDR devices, but we can also send response messages back. So that's the first thing, is providing that 100% visibility. There's a framework that should be put in place that allows you to add additional visibility to tools that maybe aren't supported very, very quickly. So in a couple of days, we should be able to provide visibility to those different tools, which is a way of normalization, right? Or parsing to bring it in. The other one is SOC analysts are spending a ton of time writing rules. All of these things we talk, are like kind of the legacy SIEM tool, right? You bring all the data in, great. A SIEM can bring all the logs in. But then what do I do with it? Well, I'm going to write queries, or I'm going to write rules to look for security events within that data set. So the analysts are spending way too much time doing that. So a platform should be able to have the security detections built in and dynamically adding new detections periodically, right? And then also, so you should be able to deploy a platform, and the analyst should be able to start looking for security events immediately. Day one, 90% of the MSSPs can use our platform right out of the box. They don't have to create any new rules. Now, they can if they want to for certain areas, but we can do that. Apply machine learning to it. Look for anomalous activity. Look for the zero-day threats in it, right? Not only a static rule-based detection, but partner it with anomalous activity detections. And the third one, which is the most complicated thing for a SOC analyst, is they're looking at all these different tools or see a security event from a specific tool come in. Let's say your sandbox tool sees ransomware. Well, great. You're challenged with, well, which devices are compromised? How did it get into my environment? Did they have lateral movement? Did they exfiltrate data? The analyst can go find out all of that stuff because they have the tools. They've got 50 plus tools in their environment. The firewall will tell you if there's a something that's been exfiltrated, right? But the challenge is I've got to go piece that together manually. And the last one, which is I want to take an action immediately. If I see a threat, I want to immediately take an action on it. I don't want to log into my firewall. I don't want to log into my AD server to disable a user. I should be able to do it in real time. So some of the business values for OpenXDR, right? Onboard any one of those technologies. Tool consolidation. Reduce the manual work by having the security detections and the machine learning built in. Focus on the threat hunting, right? Reduce the SOC burnout. Pause, Fernando. Question?
No, something came to mind, but you're on a flow, man. You keep going. This is really great stuff. I'm sure the guys that are listening in, I appreciate. We've got 16 attendees, so we're just, you know, you're just hitting it. You're on a roll. Keep it going.
Okay,
This
awesome.
is great information.
Great. Yeah.
Love it.
So let's, the word I use platform quite a bit. Platform terms, I want to define it in just a couple of slides and a couple of analogies. Everyone agrees. Over the last few years, there's a lot of research has been done on this. A lot of analysts have taken a look at it. Everybody wants a platform approach, and you can see some of the statistics here, right? So what does a platform approach mean? It's been around for a long time. If you take a look at firewalls, NetScreen firewalls or Cisco firewalls, they're purely allow and deny certain traffic, but they sit at a critical place in your network, mostly right at the perimeter, right? Or in between networks. So it makes sense to have certain functionality right at the perimeter. One is firewall itself. Second one is VPN, right? That's the point where they're coming into the environment. So let's have our VPN technology in there. Routing. Your firewalls are meant to sit between different networks. So let's put routing in there, right? IDS in there. So these functionalities weren't simply just added on just to consolidate. It wasn't a consolidation play. It was a play of it makes sense to have certain technologies in that spot, right? So today you have the next generation firewalls like Fortinet, Checkpoint, Palo Alto, just incredible companies, right? And it was the platform approach that they took to a legacy ACL based firewall. Another technology, antivirus. Everyone has to have it for compliance. It's absolutely useless, right, on your laptop. So EDRs have come into play. They've taken the antivirus and added additional detections, additional technologies, and more important, response directly at it, and took a platform approach and call it EDR. And that's where we feel security operations 1.0 was those legacy dying SIEM technologies, right? You've take Splunk or Vectra or Logarithm or point products like Darktrace to look at network packets. It makes sense to have additional visibility and integrations to your existing tool in that specific technology. So you take the open XDR concept or the platform here, which is have the SIEM functionality in there. Give me visibility to my logs. Give me visibility to my SaaS applications, my Windows events, my network packets, right? User information. Add some security detections onto it, not just collect data, but let's add some detections and machine learning on top of it, and then you get some byproducts out of it. So this is the open XDR platform concept, which is security operations 2.0, to make a SOC analyst job much more efficient.
Snehal, I want to announce to everybody there's questions coming in. I want to let everybody know that, we're going to take questions after Snehal gives his presentation, because they're coming in, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time because I know you're super busy. So let me just, sorry for the interruption. Just keep on going. This is great stuff.
We've got a couple of slides. So we took now let's double click on the security operations 2.0, right? This is the platform concept. Bring all of the telemetry, all of the data, all of the integrations inside a single platform, right? So that's bringing all the data that we talked about, the network data, the log data, the SaaS application data, all data. Bring it into a single user interface. Then we give you the ability to do threat hunting on it, which is the byproduct is a SIEM tool, right? So you have 100% capabilities of a SIEM tool in our platform, right? And then what we've added is that network visibility. So bring in network visibility via the sensors, right? So attach a sensor to a physical or virtual switch. Now you've got network telemetry. When we add the security detections, when we add the machine learning to all of that different data set, there's byproducts that come out of it. So when you're doing machine learning on network packets, you've got NDR. So NDR is a component of a platform, right? You've got user data. So apply the machine learning to the users, you've got user behavior analytics. As you're bringing the data in and you're normalizing it all, let's make that data set better by bringing threat intelligence feeds that come in. So every single IP address that we see, no matter where it came from, I can add a reputation to it from our threat intelligence feed. We can also add geolocations to it. When you do find a threat, whether it's through anomalous detection activity or security detection, we want to take a response. We can manually take a response or we can automate it. So to give you that automated response capabilities directly in the platform when a SOC analyst is not watching it maybe in the middle of the night or something, or maybe just miss something on a critical event. Along with the threat intelligence feeds that come in, let's bring in IDS signatures to look for exploits. Let's take a look at the files to look for malware activity. Add case management to a SOC analyst would be taking a look at this platform day to day, 24/7. So let add case management functionality built right in, right? I've got these individual security events. Let me bring them all together, correlate it, and create a case out of it. And that full visibility also means give me visibility to my IT and OT network. So let's bring in the OT telemetry. We're talking about full visibility. So let's bring in the OT devices also. And of course, that 100% integration with all of the tools outside of our platform. And then just one last slide is how the data flows for a SOC analyst, right? Or for an MSSP. First is that full integration with all of your tools and telemetry. Bring that data in and want to normalize it. Normalization is incredibly important for a SOC analyst. For a SOC analyst to learn on how a packet capture looks like versus what a Windows event log looks like versus an EDR log, they'll all be a different format. So imagine them having to learn 50 different types of log formats versus normalizing it is making it just look the same. So a destination IP is a destination IP, a source IP is a source IP, an app is an app, right? So we're just going to give it metadata fields for the analysts to go run queries on it. As you're normalizing it, make that record better, right? Again, by adding that reputation and then storing a data lake. Once that data is there, we've now got those built-in security detections and the machine learning to look for anomalous activity, as well as threat hunting across a common data set. Common data set meaning when I do threat hunting, I can do it across all of my tenants, all of my data sets from a single user interface, right? Because now the data looks the same. And then we're going to use another form of machine learning, which is graph-based machine learning, to correlate those individual events. When I see an event from an EDR or a Windows machine that says it's been exfiltrated, then when we see that device do lateral movement, we're going to correlate those together, and then the firewall will tell me that it made an outbound connection. So we'll correlate it automatically. And the last thing is to take a response directly from the platform, right? When I see that there's data that's being compromised, I'm going to click on that event and then create a firewall rule to block it. Then just leave it as all of this stuff should be very, very simple. Single license for every single function that we talked about, a single platform, 100% integration with all of your tools that you have, very optimal for the different levels of MSSP. So we've got multi-tier, multi-tenant tenancy built in. and then the automated updating of the content, right? And then easy to deploy, which is what we started this topic out with.
No, this is all great stuff. And the first thing that pops to my mind is the value proposition, right? It's like the question in everybody's mind is, what is the value proposition? And as an MSP that wants to transition to the MSSP, is sticking with that proactive philosophy and model, because now we're responsible for the whole entire network. It's like, well, now security has been bundled in there. We want to prevent, and the value prop behind that is the prevention, right? There's you can have all the sexy tools in place, but you need the team, you need the right tools in place to deliver that value proposition, plus the experience. And your tool sounds just so ideal for, would you say this is an ideal tool for an MSP who's looking to transition to the MSSP, take that next, it's like going to another level, right? It's like this game is levels, right? They say levels in sports, but
absolutely,
I think IT firms also have levels. You go from break fix to the proactive MSP model, and now you have that next level of the MSSP. It's like you want to get to that next level. So not only do you deliver a valuable service, it's a preventative service for the clients, and that's everybody's entire goal, is preventing problems from occurring. And your tool or this platform sounds amazing, I'm sure it would be a great fit for a lot of these guys. But I don't know, was there anything else that you wanted to share? Because can you share a little bit of like who you guys, I know Steve shared with me that you guys are working with 32 of the top MSSPs in the world. So can you share a little bit about that, and what makes you different to Splunk? Let's say Splunk or those other those brands we hear right out in the out in the techie world. So
thank you for that. So yes, it's 34 at this point of the top 250 MSSP, and we grow that multiple times in a month, right? So it's a platform that perfectly fits an MSSP's needs and requirements. And one is that just whole easy to use, right? I don't have to have a separate NDR tool. I don't have to have a separate SIEM. I don't have to have in-house expertise to build integrations or security detections. We're going to do that for you, right? And that's what the platform will do it for you. And we make it so easy in terms of licensing. It's just purely based on ingestion or the number of assets or IPs, right, that we see. That's it. MSSPs don't want to deal with, well, if I want this feature, it's going to cost me a little bit more, or this feature to cost me more. I just want a fixed price, a simple price. And that way I can map it to how I'm charging my customers. So the single license, the open platform, and here the single platform is what really differentiates. And if you take a look at, I would say most of our customers, excess of 70% of our customers, are replacing an existing SIEM, because we have 100% of the capabilities that a SIEM does. Now you add the functionality of NDR, UEBA, the integrations into your Windows events and Linux servers and SaaS application. It just makes sense that you're getting a 10 times better functionality in a platform than a pure looking at just logs and building detection. So that's majority of the customers are moving from a legacy dying SIEM technology.
So, Snehal, one of the other questions that I know is on everybody's mind is training. And let's say I have a large opportunity for you guys, right? Will you guys provide some assistance in selling, helping me close it, selling that value proposition to the prospective client? Because You know, some of these CEOs who are operating MSPs and they want to go to take that next step is how can you provide, or will you guys provide some sales assistance? Because we need it, right? In
Yeah,
the beginning, we're going to
absolutely.
need it, and training would be just, I'm sure everybody would appreciate training on selling this and also training on the product. So is that
Yep.
something that you guys are going to also offer for MSPs?
Yeah, and then I'll reiterate it again: single license, single cost for everything I talk about today,
Okay,
including the training that I'm going to talk about and the enablement. So let
awesome.
me walk you through a life cycle of our sale. Right, a
Okay.
customer will come in.
Yep.
We'll go through possibly a POC, and we definitely like to go through POCs because that's where it really shows our differentiation from everyone who's got a checkbox of yes we do, so yes we do that, right? Our
Yep.
POCs are incredible. So once we do that, we are already engaging our technical enablement team immediately, right? During the POC process, you will get to know our technical enablement team. So what this team does is they will have a dedicated engineer for the first 60 days. It's a very, very prescriptive plan. We use a tool that'll go through, have we covered this with you? Have we covered this with you? Have you shared this document? Have you taken this training? So we will take you through a 60-day enablement plan that will get you up and running, get all of your data sources integrated, bring it all in, get all of the rules set up, your tenants, your user role-based access control, everything. So we will make sure you are fully enabled and fully trained with certifications to go ahead and take on the business, right? After that, or right towards the end of it, we're going to start introducing you a customer success manager, right? So you will now have a customer success manager that will be assigned to your account, and ongoing post-sale support. They will be part of that team.
Awesome.
So this is all included in the license. And we've got an LMS system, a learning management system that's put into place where you go in and then you've got these videos that you watch. And we don't want to make these videos 3 hours, 4 hours. They'll be modules. You have a 15-minute module, 20-minute module on various different technologies. You want to know how to create a query? Go read this module. You want to create a custom dashboard? Go view this module. So it's all modular based, and we'll even give you, for your company, you'll have a custom login where you can go in and make sure your SOC analysts are taking this training, making sure they're getting the certifications and they're keeping up to date with all of the different features and functionalities that we have. So all of this, again, is included, part of the license. We want to make sure that you're fully enabled. We've got a full MSSP team that'll be dedicated to work with you, that's walking you through each one of these steps.
Love it. This is great. This is great information. I don't have anything else. I know that I was going to ask Olivia if she's moderating the questions or how we're going to open it up to the guys online. Did you want to share anything else, Nahal, or did Steve want to say anything? I don't know if Olivia wanted to share anything, but I really appreciate you sharing some awesome information. And I know this is going to be helpful to the guys because they love this stuff, right? They love technology. Technology makes their life easier. And your platform sounds so ideal for, centralizing all that data, interpreting data that's going to be help them do their job much more effective. So I wanted to ask Olivia if she can hear me.
I can hear you, Fernando. So
Okay.
we are open for we are open for questions. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to go to the Q&A section and submit your questions, and we can go ahead and answer them accordingly. But in the meantime, I think Snehal, were you still planning to kind of showcase just like a 5-minute quick
Yeah,
demo?
absolutely. Yep.
Oh,
I was gonna
this
pause for some questions here, but then I was gonna dive right into a demo based on some of the questions.
Oh
Otherwise,
yeah,
I'll do
no,
the demo.
this is good stuff here. So this is like a POC we're gonna do here.
Yeah. So
Awesome. Yes.
all the challenges we talked about all of the ways that we can address things,
Yep.
I want to demo it, right? It's not
Awesome.
just
Let's do it.
on slideware. So, we talked about having the analyst having various different places to go look for security events, like on their EDR, their firewalls, they're all over the place, right? So for us, when you've got 100% integration with all your tools, which creates a new problem, which is, shoot, I've got hundreds of thousands of logs coming in. What are really important to my analyst, right? An analyst can't go in there and start digging around looking for stuff. So right in the middle of the dashboard, you see is the Open XDR kill chain, which consists of the MITRE ATT&CK framework tactics, right? So every single security event that's generated or brought in from externally is going to be classified in one of the stages of the actual threat. So the initial attempts, for example, someone's trying to get in your environment. Maybe this is your external firewall logs, right? Which is people trying to get in, brute forcing their way in. Maybe there's someone trying to brute force their way onto a mail server. Any of those attempts will be classified here, categorized here. You've got exploration, a common one people look for, which is, I want to see if there's lateral movement. When a single device gets infected, did it affect anything else in my environment, right? And then this last one, very important one, which is this is data leaving my network. So an analyst can easily come in and see, well, I've got 6 security events where the data is leaving my network for this particular customer. Okay, so when I click on that, I get my individual security events here. First one you can see is an example of an enriched log. So this could have been either a firewall log or some sort of a network packet log, right? Which is saying I've got a connection that's being made to an IP address outbound that's got a reputation of hosting Tor. Okay. Another example for machine learning is I've got a device or a user that's got an anomalous amount of bytes that are going outbound. Maybe they've been compromised and it's being used to exfiltrate data. So the analyst can come in here and click on view here and said, okay, let's take a look at that security event. And first they get are the critical fields that triggered the security event. Here's the private IP address internally. We added the geolocation. We added the reputation, but here's the public address that they went to in Paris that's hosting Tor. An analyst can validate very, very quickly on what's going on here, right? So here's that normalized record. So for them, it doesn't matter this was a firewall log or whether it was a network packets that they saw, but you can see it was converted into metadata, which is here's my destination IP. It's called destination IP, period, right? And if I do add reputation, it's going to tell me where the reputation came from. Here in this instance, it's ET Pro. And here's the original log, right? So we keep 100% of the original log, but just make it easier for the analyst to take a look at it. And you can also have a JSON format. All of this is to help you validate that this is a critical security event that happened, and then immediately take an action. Yes, I validated that this is data that's exfiltrating. I'm going to go to my Fortinet firewall, that public IP address, outbound, for the next 5 minutes, go ahead and create a block rule. So it'll go to the firewall automatically and then create a block rule and initiate that.
Interesting. Wow. That's pretty easy. That's so simple.
Yep. Very simple, right?
Simple and fast. It's fast.
Yeah, to summarize, easy, right?
Yeah, it's easy.
Identify a critical threat, validate it, which is what a SOC analyst should be doing, validating it, and then take an action. Done.
A dummy sales guy like me could do that.
Yeah. So the other challenge we looked at, which is correlating individual security events. This is a graphical view of this device 1.125 has been compromised. It was compromised by this external IP address with a single security event. Whoa. And here's the username that was compromised. Once it compromised this particular device right here, it ran these commands on that server. That's pretty neat to say, yes, this device got compromised and they ran these commands on it because we've got visibility down to the command level on these servers.
Wow.
You got the Office 365 integration. So they went and did something on Office 365. We'll take a look at it. But this particular device is interesting because they use this one as a jump box to make these external connections. So just give you a high level graphical view, but I think for the analysts, they want a timeline view also, which is
Sure.
the first thing that happened was a successful brute force login. So this device successfully brute forced its way onto this particular server. Now that was an individual security event from Windows, which we saw. But interestingly, my machine learning on users also identified a security event or created a security event that said they logged in at an anomalous time. They've never logged in at 7 o'clock using that username. 2 individual security events that just got tied together within seconds. Now, we can stop the bleeding right here. I can click on more information. Again, I'll go ahead and identify what the username is, what application they were using, and so on and so forth. But in this instant, I'm going to go ahead and disable this user. So it's going to go to Active Directory or whatever, and it's going to disable it. Or I can go and contain that endpoint or quarantine it. So it'll make an API connection over to the EDR and then take these actions on the EDR directly. I didn't have to log into EDR. I didn't have to log into Active Directory. So I can stop the bleeding as it's happening here. But as we go further, you can see after about an hour, they ran a port scan or an IP scan on the network. Well, we picked that up because you have that network visibility, that NDR that's built in, right? And then what they found was this server had a vulnerability. Well, we know the server had a vulnerability because of our integration into your scanner tools. Remember, 100% integration into all of your different tools. And then what we saw with our IDS signatures that it exploited that vulnerability. Once it exploited that vulnerability, it made these outbound connections. And you can see other things that had happened. It deleted a user in Office 365, created an RDP tunnel, and so on and so forth. So to summarize, right, we took these individual security events and we can show you here all of these individual. These were all individual security events from various different tools, detections that we had built in, and then we tied them all together into a graphical view and a timeline view.
Interesting. Wow.
All real time. You didn't have to do this manual. This is our patent pending graph-based ML. So machine learning that's doing this in the back end.
Wow. It's very impressive. I mean, it's so intuitive also. I mean, you just get a amazing view of what's going on based on this image right here. It's
exactly.
very cool. Very cool. I've never seen anything like that.
That's great.
Nice.
That's great. And then we talked about a little bit about automation, right? Which is, and our analysts can't watch this all day long. So any of our predefined security detections that we have, let's just take an example here of something called maybe an emerging threat. An emerging threat is when our threat intelligence feed comes in, it's going to identify that this particular server has some sort of malware or something on it, right? So here I can create based on a query that once it finds a match, and I just did a predefined query, which is an emerging threat query, is to automatically take an action. The first thing I'm going to do is send an email or open up a trouble ticket. And then I'm going to go to my firewall and block it. So if I see there's an IP address internally making a connection outbound to a server that's now been identified to host ransomware, I'm going to block it on the fire immediately. If I see that a user, they tried 50 times, maybe or 10 times to log in, I'm going to go ahead and disable it. If I see that a user logged in from Chicago and then logged in from Russia 5 minutes later, while something's going on, I'm going to go ahead and disable that user. So these are all custom queries, correlated queries that I can create to automatically take an action based on a playbook that I create here.
I love it.
Okay, and then the last thing I'll leave you at is the threat hunting, which is replacing the SIEM tool. This is theoretically our SIEM tool. And here you can see I can run a query to say amongst all my tools, all my customers. So I've got multi-tenancy here, right? These are the different tenants that I'm looking at. Right now I'm looking at doing a query on all my tenants. I wanted to look at just Russia. So I've got a checkpoint, a sonic wall, a checkpoint firewall, and a sensor that has traffic that's going to Russia across all of my different tenants. If I only want to look at do threat hunting or look at security events on a certain tenant, I can simply select the tenant here. It says show me only events for that particular tenant. I can create a user that when they log in, that they'll only be able to see their data. So if I have a Stellar Cyber user log in, they'll only see Stellar Cyber. Everything, the entire dashboard becomes just for that specific tenant.
Wow. Wow.
So I'll pause here for questions.
Olivia, I think she opened it up to the guys.
Yeah, the questions open up. No additional questions coming in at this time.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. I don't have anything else for you, Snehal. I think this is a great proof of concept that you shared. It really gives everybody a great overview on how powerful that this tool is. It just looks and how intuitive it is. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad we had a good turnout, and I'm excited for the future. We have on average 100 to 200 members join every quarter. So I expect to have you on here every quarter.
Awesome.
Right? Because we want to give these guys more, keep them educated. And I think one of the most valuable things that they will get is selling value and how they can position their firms with your platform, because they need it. It's absolutely necessary. It's no longer if you're going to be attacked. It's like, when is this attack going to happen?
Exactly.
It's not a remote chance of it ever happening. It's like it's
when.
It's when.